Hey guys, Deeb here. Have you ever wondered about how all of these Dubai and Middle Eastern fragrances started? Well, it started with Swiss Arabian. It really did. And usually I'm dropping 10 lists, 5 lists in general. Number 1, because it's easy to watch. Number 2, because it's fun to make. Today we're only going to be talking about a couple fragrances, 3, maybe 4 to 5 at the most. And it's going to be new releases by Swiss Arabian. And the only reason I'm making this video is because of how impactful this fragrance right here is. If you don't know about this one, it's called Swiss Arabian Shaghaf Oud. This is saffron, cacao, chocolate, and oud. It smells a lot like Risala by Arabian Oud. It smells a lot like Lancome Oud Bouquet, etc. And this was one of the first Middle Eastern cheapies that did this quality at the price. It was during the era of Shaghaf Oud Vanilla Toffee, which is okay, but still, considering where we're at now, it's miles above. Well, where we're at now is miles above what we are at then. When I first got this fragrance, it showed me a lot of things. Number 1, that quality can be done at low cost. And number 2, performance at the cost as well is not something that can't be done. So at its time, they were definitely ahead. And up to today, they've created a legacy, and I've seen a lot of them, a lot of their things grow. They had a niche line called, I covered them a long time ago, Sawalif, etc. And they've always put out quality, consistent quality. It doesn't mean that everything they put out I enjoyed. I didn't enjoy a few of their fragrances. Aswad I'm not crazy about. I love the Shaghaf Oud Azraq. It smells like honey, oud and patchouli, raunchy, sexy. And they have quite a few hidden gems as well. The Rose 01 smells like rose. It's so sexy. If you like Delina ladies, Rose 01 is fantastic. Not to mention, they have Ahmar as well. This red one right here. It smells in the vein of like Erba Pura or Kirke. Not many people talk about it. But anyways, their latest drops is something that I think is also pretty pivotal because of one specific fragrance. It's the Vanilla Toffee. And the reason I say it like that is because we're in an era of gourmands. And more specifically, I'm sure if you're in the fragrance space, you've heard of Bianco Latte. So the brand Giardini di Toscana absolutely crushed it with their release of Bianco Latte. Pivotal, buzzworthy, got so much hype. And this smells like vanilla, and more vanilla with maybe a little bit of spice. So thick, so it smells like a cupcake. I tried to rock it, and even some of it's inspired buys, but it's too feminine for me. But it was something that just shook shit up in terms of, I've smelled a woman wear this to the gym. I've smelled it. It smells amazing. It really does. The only reason I bring this up is not because Vanilla Toffee smells like it, because it absolutely does not. But it's because of the fact that this is as strong, as bold, and as defining, I think, to the whole gourmand thing that one is. And that says a lot for Vanilla Toffee. Number 1, it's more affordable. Number 2, it's as strong. And number 3, it's on that same level playing field in terms of the quality. In fact, I like this a little bit more. And there are a couple of factors, like Bianco Latte is not a 10 for me because it's, for me personally, it's not wearable. It's too feminine. I've smelled it on a woman and thought, damn, that smells good. And you can wear fragrance whenever, wherever. We'll get there. Before we talk about my personal reasons as to why I like it and my rating, etc., what it actually smells like. So there's notes of toffee, coffee, dates. There's also milk, walnut, vanilla. There's different kinds of vanilla, brown sugar, which adds more sweetness while still being light, and then also musk. Light is far from what this is. It's a beast mode fragrance that'll linger and project almost the entire day. It'll stay on your clothing for days. But what this actually smells like is if you think of dates paste and maybe coat it in a little bit of milk to take away some of its sticky nature and viscosity with some bold roasted coffee. That's what I get from this one. Recreating like this combination of honey, milk, and some spice. Although there's no honey, I'm just giving you an idea of what that would smell like because not many people can smell dates. So that's basically what I get with a cup of coffee that's roasted next to it. Super strong, nuclear, and I have personally not smelled anything like this. This does not smell like Bianco Latte at all. It kind of matches the gradient or the color. It's not a gradient. The color of the bottle, although I'm colorblind, it looks, what is this, yellow, orange? It looks like honey. Oh my God, I'm so colorblind. Whatever, okay? It looks like what it looks like, and that's what it smells like. But you don't even know what it looks like. I get dates and honey with milk, a side of coffee, and some spice. More specifically, cardamom. Warm, cozy, edible. If you have a sweet tooth from hell, this will scratch that itch. And even a little bit more than Bianco Latte. Because Bianco Latte is just vanilla cream. A lot of it, at least for me. This one, it's gonna give you that vanilla cream because it has it in it. Not as sticky and suffocating, but also giving you some less viscous notes from that milk, a bit of spices, dates, toffee, coffee. And so yeah, obviously for me, I like something that has a bit more character, and that's exactly what this one has over Bianco Latte. So if Bianco Latte was rated at something about like an 8 for me, you know, and this is very objective. A lot of people would say, you know, in the gourmand realm, they'd give it 10s, 9s. For me, it's an 8. Who cares, okay? I would place Vanilla Toffee at like an 8.9, damn near a 9. The only reason I don't give it a 10, and I want to give it a 10, it deserves a 10 for what it's doing, but the ratings have to be subjective because that's all they'll ever, who am I to say that, nope, this one is objectively a 10, right? So I have to give it my opinion. The reason why it takes a dock in points is because of one factor, which is it leans feminine. I personally think that if we were looking at a scale, anything above 5 being masculine and anything down towards 0 being feminine, I would rate this at like a 3.5, favoring the feminine side, maybe even a 3. So the sticky side of things, the sweetness, etc., it's usually attributed to women's perfumes, etc., things like that. I would still wear this one. I wouldn't wear Bianco Latte. I think Bianco Latte is like a straight up 1 when it comes to being on that gender scale. It smells really good on a woman. That's pretty much it. So there you have it. That's what I think about this. Sexy, cozy, cuddly. It deserves an 8.9, damn near a 9. Aside from the rating, this will be a consistent and continuous recommendation whenever anybody asks me for one of the best, if not the best, gourmand at the price point. Forget the price point in general. If somebody who has like a sweet tooth from hell, this will be my first recommendation, even over Bianco Latte. And just for scale and reference, this Shaghaf Oud, the original that started it all, once upon a time was a 10 out of 10 for me. The scale kind of has shifted as the market has shifted too, right? We're getting a lot of new fragrances, but it's still a 9.5. Even after the years and even after a lot of the new releases have come out, it's like, I would personally say it's like a 9.2 to a 9.5 as of right now. And you're probably wondering, why didn't you just keep it at 9.5? Well, because I don't want to, because like 9.2 to 9.5 is what made sense, so yeah. So Saffron Oud chocolate smells amazing, still lasts long. Although I can't wear it that often, doesn't change the score, so 9.2 to 9.5. Next one, and the latest one as well, is called this one. It's Swiss Arabian's Tobacco one, and I love the fact that they did this, something a bit more definitively masculine, to kind of scratch the itch for those who are looking for something more masculine. The notes for this is also pretty intoxicating looking before you even get your nose on this. It's plum, it's licorice, it's apple, it's peppers, there's honey, tobacco, and musk, and for me, these are some of my favorite notes, including that whole tobacco and plum. Initio's Paragon, right? A lot of you guys love that, and it's a lot of this plum Palo Santo incense. Also, side effect, and that's kind of what this one reminds me of. But to call it just a side effect clone would be doing it disjustice, because although it does remind me of that vibe, every time I smell it, it's a little bit different. Speaking of, let me tell you guys about the transitioning for this one before we move on. This isn't necessarily a fragrance that develops or changes over time, but every time I'd go and sniff something, I would get a different accord. Like I'd get something nutty one time, then I would get something like roasted, and at another time I might get like this honey and cardamom vibe. So the entire journey is consistent, but you get different accords. Also, the projection for this is absolutely insane. It is a beast mode fragrance. I sprayed this under my shirt 2 times, and during Dubai I was spraying a bunch of other fragrances, and the entire time I was still smelling this with those other fragrances. But back to this one, it's a tobacco and honey based fragrance with musk, and a lot of people might attribute or think right away Naxos, but what this kind of smells like is a more, how do I say, less spiced version of Side Effect. I almost said lighter, but it's not necessarily lighter, but it is more wearable. So the thing with Side Effect is that the cumin note specifically kind of treads in its category or territory of like borderline too much, maybe even giving you an idea of BO without actually going there. And this one tones that down a little bit, adds the licorice, and the honey and musk kind of tone down the boozy aspect to it. I wouldn't necessarily call it an actual clone, because there are actual clones of that smell good and other twists that smell good too, but this in its own right does as well. A couple of words I would use to describe this one would be something that's masculine, sexy, date night appropriate, and even a little bit rugged, coming from the tobacco vibe. Performance for this one is not beastly, but it's there and it's present, and it'll give you a total longevity of about 7 to 8 hours. It's absolutely going to give you more than just average, which I would say is about 6 hours, and sometimes some might even argue less, but the 7 to 8 hours is a minimum. The projection is something to not be discovered, but it's going to envelop you in a bubble of about 1 to 2 feet for almost the entirety of the longevity. For the occasions for this one, I'd wear it for dates. I'd wear it honestly spring, winter, and the fall time. You could potentially wear it every other season. You could wear anything anywhere depending on how humid it is, how many sprays, etc. But it'll be best fitted for those vibes because of the whole psychological aspect. When you're thinking about something warm and tobacco, etc., cozying up, and that's where Tobacco 01. Vanilla Toffee, you're going to attribute psychologically, you know, sweets, desserts, baked goods to Thanksgiving, Christmas, so it's going to be best fitted for the fall and the winter time. However, I did rock this during the summertime. It was 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and it did just fine. You just have to spray it it appropriately. If I sprayed this any more than 2 times, it would have been too much and suffocating. If I'm in the humidity and this is already a pretty thick fragrance, it'll just make it double dense, basically. So you can wear them all year round, but even then, these will be best suited for winter and the fall time. Final thoughts and rating on Tobacco 01. I think that this smells fantastic. If you like side effect, you're going to love this one. Tones down the cumin and amps up what seems like a plum note to the fragrance in itself. So it's not exactly a clone. It's definitely not. My final rating for this one is going to be an 8.8. I think that I really, really like it. I might not be absolutely in love with it, and that rating might change over time. My name's Neve. Thank you for tuning back into AROMATIX, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.